There's a peace that's only to be found on the other side of war. If that battle must come, I will fight it.
What I do know is that because you were born different, men will fear you. You must learn to conceal your special gift and harness your power until the time of the gathering.
How do you fight such a savage?
With heart, faith, steel. In the end, there can be only one.
I want a suite, a shower, a shave, and the feel of a suit.
Want to get Capone? Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. And that's how you get Capone.
The quest for the Grail is not archaeology. It's a race against evil.
I should have mailed it to the Marx brothers. Will you take it easy? Take it easy? Why do you think I sent it home in the first place? So it wouldn't fall into their hands. I came here to save you. Oh, yeah? And who's going to come to save you, Junior?
A great day, comrades. We sail into history.
What?
Don't you understand? I found a cure for the plague of the 20th century, and now I've lost it. Haven't you ever lost anything, Dr. Bronx?
Bond. James Bond.
Who are you?
My name is Pussy Galore.
I must be dreaming.
Make sure when your shift is over, you go home alive. Here endeth the lesson.
To movies and toys and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
Good evening, everybody. As you listen to this, it's Friday. As we record this, it's Wednesday. Maybe we have a president, maybe we don't. We don't know what's going on.
We have one. We just don't know if we have a new one or not, or the same old one.
Well, I don't know that we actually have had one.
Well,
but
there's only one president at a time. And we may have a new one, but it's been an interesting couple days.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
So today we're doing something different. If you listened to last week, we sort of came up with the idea on the fly of Mandalorian came out. First episode was last week, so we did the Disney Plus group watch thing. We all watched it individually. Then we did the group watch thing and then sort of did a commentary over that. So we're going to put that at the end of the episode. So it's the whole episode of Mandalorian, and we all talk to each other.
As performed by the three regular judges.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it as a commentary track if you want to, or you can just listen to us.
You can just listen to us.
I'm assuming you've
way.
probably seen the episode, so you'll have no problem following along.
At the front end of this, do not listen to our version of this until you have seen the show once. It is superb, but if you want to appreciate it the way with hanging out with some friends as we did, you get a second. You listen to it on your second pass with us.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this show,
there's obviously
I'm sure
spoilers.
You've seen it already because you would have to.
Yeah,
but
for sure,
it's awesome. And actually, I'll just say right up front, that group watch feature was actually kind of cool. I mean,
it was
the fact that
cool.
you can watch with multiple people and everybody can control it. And I mean, we also, used something else so that we could talk to each other, because that's the one thing you can't communicate with each other while you're group watching. All you can do is watch and be in sync with each other.
I guess people would be on phone or FaceTime or
exactly. If you're the person left out there who does not know how to use Zoom, okay, catch up.
Zoom or FaceTime or anything.
It's free. You could do it.
Yeah.
Talk to your friends.
So it was cool.
So anyway, so if you do want to rewatch, and we're saying you should be rewatching the episode, there's instructions, but I'll tell you now. So you basically sync up our audio to when you see the Lucasfilm logo just pop on.
You'll
and
hear
we'll
us
let
say,
you know
there it is,
when we're seeing it. So maybe start the show, stop at the Lucasfilm logo, and then when we get to there, we'll give you a cue that it's the Lucasfilm logo, blah, blah, blah. Other than that, so we certainly want to talk about sad news. Sean Connery passed away over the weekend, or on Halloween, I think it was, Saturday. He lived to 90, so while sad, it's a good run, for sure. But we want to talk about him because, he's definitely been in a lot of stuff that we appreciate. I know we've done some James Bond shows. I know we've done some Indiana Jones shows. There's a lot of stuff. So
yeah, some of our favorite movies have Sean Connery in them. So
yes,
yeah, I would think so. So I think Todd suggested we rewatch one, and then we talk about it. But
Pick
we'll talk
favorite,
about other stuff.
basically, yeah, and just kind of rewatch it from the. Yep. So
what? So Todd, why don't you tell us what you watched or?
I actually this is, it's hard. I thought about it for a little bit, and I knew I wanted to watch a Bond film because it's been years since I've seen a lot of them, and I don't think this is my favorite Bond film. I don't think it's a perfect Bond film, but I've always liked it because I read all the Bond novels, and this is the most like the Bond novels. It's really From Russia with Love. It's by far the closest to Ian Fleming's Bond that we ever see on screen, and
that's what everyone says. Yeah.
And it's cool. It's got a lot of very iconic stuff in it, and including a badass Robert Shaw, who most people really only know from Jaws, and not the Jaws in Moonraker,
right?
But it's it's great, and I rewatched that, and I really enjoy it. Again, I love spy stories, and it's much more in the classic spy story vein than some of the more elaborate secret plan things and stuff like that, and fantastic devices and bases and that sort of thing. So, and as I always do, I enjoyed it. So, gotta love Rosa Klepp, with those the poisoned pointy shoes. That's
exactly. So. Barry, what about you?
I didn't necessarily go for my favorite of all of Sean Connery's movies, but I went down the discography. Listen to me, the music. I went down the filmography, and I picked one that I hadn't seen in a long time that I really liked, and one that my kids hadn't seen, so that we were able to watch it together. And I picked Hunt for Red October.
Oh, excellent choice.
We rewatched
that. The funny thing about that is it's now in the days we're home. It is on constantly. It's on every single night.
I have not seen that for years.
Yes.
It's funny because I went to my cable box and I did a voice search for Sean Connery, saw that it was going to be on literally that day, and recorded it, so I had it on the DVR. So I didn't even have to hunt it down. It was there that night.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that some of that maybe half a dozen times in the past 3 months.
Wow, yeah, I haven't seen it in years. So and it was.
Really? Wow.
I forget how many people are in that movie. I mean, Sean Connery's great in it, and
it's a great movie.
It's
unfortunate.
It's really the first Tom Clancy novel, and it's the first Jack Ryan thing that exists. And
I think it's the best Jack Ryan thing that they've done personally.
They spindled, mutilated the character after that, trying to work him into other things. But I think this is the purest Jack Ryan outing.
Yeah, the Harrison Ford were okay, but no, that's one of those movies you could pick up and watch from any point, and it's good the whole way through.
And it's jam-packed with stars, star-studded cast.
From this novel was very balanced. It wasn't all Jack Ryan. It shifted back and forth. They did the same thing in the movie, where there was a lot of Sean Connery in this. That character was very, very present in the story, and I think Alec Baldwin did a good job as Jack Ryan at that.
Yeah, I think he was really good in it. And
I don't know if either of you remember this. I forget that sometimes.
Gates McFadden's in this movie.
Yes, like I said,
she is.
She makes an appearance, a blink and you miss it appearance, but she plays a British woman at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
I haven't. That's the part I haven't seen in the past 6 viewings of it.
Yeah,
and that's how long it's been since I saw it. When she came on screen, I'm like, holy crap, Gates McFadden's in this movie.
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
And Sean Connery's fantastic in it, and it's a fun story. And having seen it before, you know how it's going to end. And I'll be honest, the effects, the underwater submarine effects, don't hold up the way that they seemed to when that movie first came out. But it's still edge of your seat every time.
When I read that book very, very shortly after it came out. Somebody recommended it to me. I read it in its original printing when it was like Military Press or something like this. It was a very obscure thing that took off, and I mentally cast Omar Sharif in that role as the Russian submarine captain. That's who I kind of pictured, and Sean Connery was fantastic. I never would have pictured him doing that role, and he was absolutely great. So,
I mean, the guy who directed it did Die Hard. Amongst a bunch of other stuff. So,
and who else is in it that I didn't make the connection on right away? But the guy that plays Francis in Logan's Run is in that too.
Oh, Rich.
Was it
Richard
Jordan?
Jordan. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. But it's just star-studded cast. And really good.
Yeah, Sam Neill and
Tim Curry's in it,
Scott,
and
Scott Glenn, is that the dude?
Scott Glenn's in it. There's a bunch of people. Everybody that comes on screen, you're like, oh, I know them from somewhere. It's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Even Skarsgård, what's his name? Stellan Skarsgård's in it.
Yes.
Oh, he's the yeah. No, good choice.
So, Dave, what did you pick?
Well, I watched my favorite Bond is You Only Live Twice, which we've talked about extensively, but that's, and I don't love all the Sean Connery Bonds. I mean, there's some great ones. There's some, Thunderball and Dr. No's a little slow, but I love You Only Live Twice. I mean, it's just the quintessential Bond. It's got everything. It's got ninjas. It's got little helicopters. It's got it's in Japan before people were going to Japan. It's got the giant crazy lair. It's got space. It's really like, if you were to make a movie of that today, it's almost like one of those parody movies because they've jam-packed everything into that. And that's 1967.
It's got
before
a Toyota
any of that
2000
stuff.
GT that is like, anyways, supercar. It's just
very ahead of its time because, when we talked about last time, you didn't see ninjas before this. You didn't go to see a lot of movies take place in Japan before that. So that's my favorite James Bond.
It is him at the top of his game in this role. I mean, this is a Bond that he didn't expect to make, because he thought he was done with it at this point. And then subsequently agreed to do this film, and it just, it's he shouldn't have agreed to do another one again after it, but it's great. It's great.
And I think the quintessential Bond, while not my personal favorite, is Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, yeah.
Because it's just got that stuff, and that's
it's the iconic Bond. It's the one that, like I said, it's got every Bond cliche that you could not even cliche. It's got everything that people just associate with Bond.
Is now a cliche. That's the thing. Everything that you see now is a cliche. The boardroom with the Spectre guys, but the laser that's killing him.
But it all
Mr. Bond, they expect you to die. The
girl assassin. It's
Martin,
all from that.
The Odd Job. It's just all of the things that are quintessentially Bond come from that movie. Pussy galore. Okay. I mean, it's like...
You show that to somebody today who's not seen any Bond movies, and they're like, that's a ripoff of everything I've seen for the past 30 years. Like, no, that movie started everything.
I will say
everything
you've
seen is a ripoff.
It is the Citizen Kane of Bond films. It's that iconic.
It's like the Rosetta Stone for those kinds of movies.
It is. It's really...
And honestly,
it's the roadmap for everything.
Yeah. Right. And, you can...
For sure.
There's probably 12 legit ripoffs of that in Austin Powers.
Oh my God, for sure, absolutely.
It's and it's great in that regard. But like, it's one of those things that I'll watch it every once in a while. But it's it's iconic. That's exactly what it is. It's just,
and he is that to me. He is the quintessential Bond in that movie.
Yeah.
What other I made a list of 10.
I'll throw another one out there that Barry mentioned earlier, and this is a great. I think this is a great later Sean Connery film. Not really late by this but the Untouchables. Yep. I mean, I think this is probably his most standout supporting role.
Anyone
other than Last Crusade, but it's the one where it's just you're like, wow, Sean Connery is the lead, but in here he wasn't the lead, but it was just he just added so much to that film, and particularly, and they knew. I mean, he's basically a created character, but they knew they were making a film about a guy who was straighter than straight, who was just this totally tightly wrapped guy, and they needed to contrast him with someone else, and Sean Connery was perfect, absolutely perfect in that role. So,
yeah. Well, the thing with that is, if you look at his early career, he was one of the most iconic leading men because of Bond. Off the top of my head, I don't know other stuff he did. But if you look at his later career in the 80s and 90s, I'm looking at almost every single movie, at least the ones I have on my list of favorites, he's the supporting character.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk more. I'm just going to list them if that's okay. So, Untouchables, you said, Highlander, Last Crusade, Red October, Rising Sun, which was not so great. Entrapment, maybe he's the lead in that. The Rock, he's not the lead. No. So he really, for somebody who was one of the top leading men, when he was that guy, had no problem sort of taking, it's hard to say the back seat.
But
because,
the supporting roles that he took allowed him to be more of a character than if he had been the leading man.
Exactly.
And you stopped at The Rock.
But
and
they also turned to...
probably my favorite Sean Connery movie, period. And I don't care that it's a Michael Bay movie.
I almost forgot about it.
I don't care that it's a Nicolas Cage movie. It's a fucking awesome movie.
Nicolas Cage and Michael Bay. I'll fight anyone who says some of those movies suck, because those movies are great.
That movie
The Rock is awesome.
And we would have probably watched that one that night, except I couldn't find a copy of it. So I will track that one down. And
I would say
I got to watch that again, because honestly, I saw that once. I've seen that once in the theater.
Good, Todd.
Are you kidding me?
It's so good.
No, but I'm saying I remember liking it, but it was just never. It was one of those things because of the nature of the movie, where it's like once you've seen everything there, it's like I've never felt compelled to rewatch it, and I should go back and hit that again. So
that could be the Red Hunt. I would put Hunt for Red. The Bond movies and all that. But if you were like, I want to watch something that's super exciting and keeps my interest, that could be the best movies ever done.
Okay. I got to give that another shot.
It's a freaking roller coaster ride from the beginning to end.
Such a great meaty role in that movie, and he kills it. Yeah, I absolutely got to watch The Rock.
Yeah. And you look at, when you say, okay, he is the supporting actor, but what he brings to these roles, to all of these roles, is it's almost like it's leading people, because he brings so much to these characters.
Is built in, and it just transfers. He ups the level of everything he's in, and
even Last Crusade, same thing.
Oh my God, yes.
That's almost so. You can't say he's taking a backseat in that movie.
With Harrison Ford at this point, who's not going to be diminished by being on screen by Harrison Ford, who's going to look who's got to make Harrison Ford at points look small. And that's how you get Sean Connery. I mean, it's like there's nobody else.
And in his third Indiana Jones, when he's at the top of his game,
right? And that's what I'm saying. When it's you've got to have somebody that he's got to be deferential to this character, and it was perfect casting, and it worked out. It worked out really, really well.
It's nice to see a guy. I'm saying because he is a guy, not it's somebody who made the transition from leading men to doing something else, to more of a character actor, like Barry said, and that's how he did his, sort of ended his career, where you try to hang on to these leading men roles. There's not a lot of leading men roles for 65-year-old dudes.
And that is one of the things. Although I will say, what is the...
Except for maybe Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I was going to say. And it's tricky. But the other thing, too, is he was probably cashing as big a check as the supporting, as he was making years earlier.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And
especially in the 90s when all that money was flowing around.
Yeah, enjoyed himself.
I saw a headline the other day, and when I didn't click it because it was a clickbaity kind of article, but it basically said that Sean Connery demanded Disney pay more money so they could make The Rock as good as it was. Like, they were basically like out of money, and he went to the studio, not Michael Bay, and said, "You need to give us more money to finish this movie."
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can do that.
I think that's Michael Bay's best movie too. I would say.
I think so too.
I mean, I know.
Yeah.
There are people who hate his movies, but
someone famous for being in Darby O'Gill and the Little People could have had that kind of clout.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Which I think I saw when I was like 12 in rerun in the theater in like a double feature thing.
Yeah, me
and
too.
Just sitting there with my mouth hanging open, like, what? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of those in his.
Well, that was
filmography,
his first film. But
Zardoz.
Yeah.
Do you know what his last movie was?
Some later choices weren't as and actually it was that same era. There were a few things in there, but
his last movie was one of your favorites.
He
was in a bunch of wacky
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh boy, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is something I would pay to have taken out of my head.
Just a mistake. Yeah.
Pam
likes that movie, and that's on all the time too.
He was probably the only good casting in that film, but it was terrible. It was utterly terrible. So, yeah.
But that's not what we're here with. No. I know he's made controversial comments about smacking women and stuff, but hey, he's one of those dudes. What are you gonna do?
He was a man of his time, and a
Scottish dude. But he was good. He was good in just about everything he did. Even though there were some that wasn't his fault, Highlander too. Certainly not his fault, but
unfortunately, it sounds like
certainly
the last
so
few
many
years of his
enjoyable
life were
movies.
probably not. It sounds like he had dementia and some other things. And
a thing about that his wife had written following his passing, and it very much sounds like it was a blessing. So,
at 90 especially, yeah. So anyway, rest in peace, Sean Connery. Thank you for 62 to say 90, 2002.
He's left a huge body of work for us to continue enjoying for many, many, many years.
Yep.
And we'll still. That's the thing. It's not like he's gone. Like you could pick up half a dozen of these movies anytime, and they'll be like, oh my god, this is a great movie. I'm sitting through the whole thing.
Yep.
So cool.
to paraphrase Auric Goldfinger, I say, no, Mr. Connery, I expect you to live forever, and he will. So.
Well said. You know who also will live forever based on Barry's payment is Fanboy Collectibles. Now, I'm only saying that because Barry's getting a lot of stuff these days.
My Hot Toys collection is growing by leaps and bounds, yes.
Exactly. There's a ton of cool stuff. I know you guys were tweeting or texting about the 1/6 scale creature from the Black Lagoon. That
is such
cool.
A cool looking
awesome,
thing.
yeah.
It's kind of off brand for me. It doesn't fit in with my stuff. I think I'm going to get it. It's just such a cool looking figure.
Yeah, it is a cool looking figure. If you're quarter scale Mando stuff, boy, there's a quarter scale Mandalorian with child, another one with child on its own, all kinds of quarter scale Mandalorian if you're into that.
They look so good.
There's a Hot Toys Death Watch Mandalorian, not him but someone else that's up for pre-order. Check all that stuff out, and Pops and Hot Toys and Kotobukias and Sideshow and everything.
The Alita Battle Angel figure is actually
is
very cool too, and it's the rare Hot Toys figure that they expect you to take the outfit off of, which is just very strange.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, I don't know about that, but anyway, the views of Todd Pleasant are not necessarily the views of Fanboy Collectibles. Check them out online, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the regular Joe sent you.
That was not Todd being pervy. That's the figure.
No, it is actually pictured both in and out of its outfit.
Yes,
and so yeah. Thank you for your support, Barry.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. So we're going to move to the Mandalorian Episode 1. Okay, get ready to sync up. I will call out the Lucasfilm logo in a couple of seconds. So best bet is to start the Mandalorian show. Pause right before the Lucasfilm logo. When I call that out, you can start watching if you want to follow along with us. Lucasfilm logo, everybody.
There it is.
Yep.
Okay. So hopefully there will be spoilers with this. So hopefully you've seen this episode already. I would recommend if you're going to listen to us, you wait until
second viewing.
Already.
Yeah. You've seen it already. We're going to spoil the hell out of this.
We've all seen it already too. So
yes,
but we have not yet discussed it.
No, we haven't.
I like that there's a Star Wars logo.
Yes. Yeah, because when they put the Star Trek or the Marvel logo up, it confuses people.
Exactly.
This was a little odd to me, this whole thing, because I was like, oh, where are they? What planet is this, you know?
Yeah, I didn't remember where it left off, to be honest.
And all the graffiti and everything, I was like, oh, this is a different kind of setting than we're used to.
Yeah. And, we have no idea what city they're on, right?
No.
Yeah. So what planet? He's supposed to have his backpack, his rocket pack under the cape when you don't see it, or he just takes it off and puts it away?
It's pretty big.
It is pretty big. I do like how the child looks like he's in a sidecar.
Yeah.
I was scanning this graffiti.
Oh,
there's
totally.
A stormtrooper head in there.
Clearly.
That thing
right there
almost looks like a Cylon too.
Yep, there is C-3PO. Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
and there was a stormtrooper head with an X through it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there was a lot. I felt like there was a lot of stormtroopers. There's
no love for the stormtroopers in this town.
No, there's Vader up there.
Yeah.
No.
Now, this to me, for the door looked like Jabba's palace a little bit. I know it's not.
Yeah, but I think that's just architecture style, basic architecture style.
Yeah, there's probably a limited number of door suppliers there, you know.
That's like the equivalent of a craftsman style house.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was actually glad to see
the width of a Gamorrean. Okay, yeah, this is your choices.
I was glad to see they had a little more clothes on them than that maquette did.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than a naked Gamorrean.
Yeah, I mean, now, they look a little bit more like the ones from Jabba's palace there.
Do they have force fields? There's definitely something going on.
Those are like vibro axes. So the axes themselves,
obviously. Yeah. So it's not. It's sort of like not a blade cutting people necessarily.
Yeah, it's like a shock thing.
I guess they're hitting each other's blades.
Yeah. It is an odd place to bring a child of any kind.
Yeah. Now, this is a mask, you think? It looks a little CGI to me.
It could be partly mask, part CGI. That's John Leguizamo, though.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I
didn't pick up his voice right away. It actually sounded like Favreau to me at first.
Yeah,
I didn't realize until I saw the credits.
Same here. But they did Chef together, and I guess they're buddies. So
yeah. Now that helmet we just saw was from either Clone Wars or Force Awakens.
Interesting.
I forget which one, but we've seen that helmet before.
Now, any of these people, anybody?
Not that we know of.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I continue to be amazed how of the universe this feels. It doesn't feel like they're adding shiny things or they're adding, you know what I'm saying? Everything that we haven't seen before is just so close to what we've seen that it doesn't stick out.
Yeah, and the fact that they're bringing in things like Gamorrean guards, like it just grounds it in the Star Wars universe.
But they're bringing in a lot of stuff, and I'm wondering if super nerdy, hardcore people are like, "Oh my God, they're ruining my childhood. You can't be doing this."
To me, it feels more Star Wars than the last 3 movies did.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Possibly 6.
well, it's in the era of.
Yeah, it is.
You know, that's the thing, and they've done a great job of putting it in that era.
Yep. You don't think of that. You don't think so much about the armor, the value of the armor itself. You think of its, its effectiveness, but he's basically walking around gold-plated at this point.
Yeah, I love how he closes his own little thing.
That's really cool.
That's the best.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Gamorrean just lands on the ground.
Yeah. That's
a very
totally right out
like,
of like wrestling.
Pro wrestling kind of thing, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm glad that they made the ring look less traditional than a regular ring, so that it doesn't feel like, oh, wait a minute.
They added the 4th rope. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
but
like
even
an
the shape of it, and it's got the grating around the side, so it definitely looks different.
It is one of the things, though, is that things make sense. It's like you go with visual references that people will get without making them look like, oh yeah, they just put a wrestling ring in there.
Yeah. Was that a Darth Maul species guy?
I don't think so, but it could have been.
You haven't seen him stab anybody. That was a little interesting.
I like this whole bit of "you won't die by my hand."
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like that it looks like he's wearing a tuxedo right down to like a cummerbund that he's wearing on the outside. It's like, yeah.
Now,
as soon as we hear this, everyone's like, Boba Fett, right?
Boba Fett, oh yeah. Yep.
And then my first thought is, that's not possible because he died like a little bitch.
But
now, how did you feel about them going back to Tatooine right up in the first episode of the season?
I recently advanced the theory that if the Sarlacc has a mouth, it likely has an anus, and it's very possible that Boba Fett gets shitted out because he was undigestible.
He was going to be digested over 1,000 generations or something.
So they think. Nobody's ever gone looking for. Would you go looking for Sarlacc butt? No, you wouldn't. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Who were I thought those were Jawas when I first saw the eyes, but apparently they're not.
They're like dogs or wolves.
They're like hyenas. Yeah. So, how many episodes? When's the last time he was on Tatooine? It wasn't in the last one, right?
No, it was the middle of the season, probably episode 5 or 6.
Oh God!
And have we?
So beautiful.
I can't remember. Have we seen Sand People?
Yes,
but not like extensively.
We did, but not like this.
No, he actually just like it was a scene where he didn't even have dialogue. I think he was just like bartering with them.
Yep.
I was kind of bummed when I saw this woman because she was horrible in the episodes she was in. She's not as bad in this one.
Yeah, I found her less annoying.
Yeah.
I do like the idea that he's kind of building up this network of people that he can trust, and those that don't get killed, we get to see again. So, I find the pit droids annoying no matter where they are, but
yeah, it's very, very, episode
very
1.
Phantom Menace. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the same. Is that the same bag that the biker scouts had them in? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. No, there's there's someone who's got a cottage industry selling Bjorns to people who have young.
Just on the pit droids for a second. I actually like the fact that they kept them as annoying as they've been all along and didn't try to make.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't get upgraded.
Yeah,
it's like. Yeah, and that is exactly on par with the way they were used the first time.
Yep.
So, I kind of feel like they were made by the same firm that made the, original droids, the droid army from the.
Oh yeah, probably.
They seem just as inept.
Yeah. Yeah, she's still slightly annoying. Oh look, she's got that. Do you see on her belt? Like that Han Solo thing.
Oh, the droid collar?
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, she's got droids working for her there.
But it's funny that they use the same thing. I mean, I like the callbacks.
Yeah, it also makes sense that some things are uniform. It makes more sense that she's got it than Han Solo had one. But
in someone else's hands, they would not have dug that deep to find the right
there's
thing.
no question.
Right. But yeah, that's true.
Now,
why would Han Solo?
This is a Jon Favreau written and directed episode.
Yes, exactly. And now she calls him R5. She didn't call him R5 last time, right?
Well, no, last time R5 was in the bar, wasn't he? Or did we see him in her shop?
I don't remember. But he's got like the scoring where his motivator went bad.
Yeah, still. Nobody's
great though. I mean, that's like there's so much going back on this episode.
Yeah.
Gonk droids. I mean, Jesus, everything.
Yeah.
I like that they're going to a different town that we haven't seen on Tatooine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing here with the speeder bike is the great thing is this just drops it right into the Western thing.
Yep.
Now, once you
How is this guy not Baby Yoda not getting sand in his giant eyeballs? You should throw some
it's like a
goggles on
repulsor field around the whole thing. But it like I said, it just makes it more Western feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
the
saw
music,
but
everything.
Hot Toys has a new Mandalorian figure on that speeder bike that they're going to be releasing.
Oh, that's great. This is also awesome that like no one's ever taken the time to talk to sand people before.
Anakin did.
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah, I don't think he did a lot of
brief
talking.
Conversation.
Yeah. He let his lightsaber do the talking.
Yeah, this is definitely Western theme music, everything.
Yep.
These little guys are cute.
Womp rats.
Yep.
Is that Womp Rats?
I think they're Womp rats, yeah.
No, I don't know that. That's great.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. I thought they were bigger. Wait.
Okay, that's not the best CG right there. He looks a little less than real there.
Isn't a Womp Rat the size of like the exhaust port on the
No, the point was that they were smaller, and therefore he was capable of seeing something,
Yeah, if he could shoot Womp rats, then he should be able to hit the exhaust port.
He was basically one of those kids who murders innocent animals.
Oh, without question. He's the chipmunk.
He was
killer.
Dexter for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, his father's a homicidal maniac. We know that.
No. Now, did he stop just outside of town and like polish up the armor? Because he's looking good for having driven like 2 days through the desert here.
You'd think it'd be a little sandblasted.
Yeah.
What's interesting is we're listening to this with headphones on, and I'm hearing like the church bell ringing in the background, which is just such a Western town thing.
Oh my God! Yeah, this, like I said, they dialed it up to like 11 on that. It's though unlike Discovery, they didn't put cafe doors on there. When he walked into the cantina.
Right.
So
now there's a Weequay. We saw one of his species on Jabba's barge.
So yeah, I thought it was the same guy, but that one died.
I would think that one blew up with the barge.
Yeah, but I didn't. But I thought his name was Weequay.
Oh,
yeah, I thought that was a species and not a proper name, but I could be wrong.
Well, they do say Weequay somewhere here.
He calls him Weequay, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think he would know that. So.
Yeah, they could all be called that too. So
maybe that's just what they call him. So. Did anyone think this was actually Boba Fett?
No, because he doesn't look like Boba Fett. But
and none of it fits him right.
It doesn't fit him right, but
it looks like a child's
awesome.
costume on him.
Yeah, it looks like a bad cosplay of Boba Fett.
It does.
It fits
my
the
God,
character,
yes.
though.
Yep.
Because in theory, he's much taller than Boba Fett.
He is taller.
Yeah. And I like how beat to shit the armor is.
Yeah.
Well, if you'd been
but it's
pooped
got
out,
that
you'd look like
dent
that
in
too.
the head.
Yeah, well, when he puts the helmet down and you see the dent, that's when you knew for sure.
But like, I mean, this is like a huge deal that you are bringing this
this
into
is
canon.
Confirmation of something that people have been speculating on forever, and
it's crazy.
And even if we don't agree with it, it's
I love
still
the little
really
pause
cool.
when he sees him take the helmet off with no hesitation.
Right, he knows he's not a Mandalorian.
Yeah,
and also, I'm just going to say, they could not have done a better job casting this. Okay, getting someone who the two roles that he's most known for are a Western Marshal, okay, to play this, it's so dead on and perfect that it's great.
I'm glad he's have a goatee to hide his kind of fake giant teeth. You know the one thing that's weird about the Star Wars universe, no matter how long you're wearing a helmet, when you take it off, your hair looks pretty good.
Your hair still looks good, yeah. Well, again, there's like special field in there.
They use a lot of product.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I know we know how I feel about Boba Fett, but what are people, hardcore Boba Fett people? Are they like horrified? What do they think?
I think hardcore Boba Fett people are happy to have the character back. I think,
and that now this isn't at least in canon. There's some treatment of the character.
I think it's the guys like us that are content with the character being dead and happy that, and actually maybe a little annoyed that they're bringing it back, that I'm a little more worried about. And to me, it's going to be how they handle it.
Yeah. Obviously, we said spoilers, so there's something at the end but I was like, okay, Boba Fett's armor, I could live with that. I'm happy. Do we need to bring the character? I don't live and die by this, whether he's dead or not dead.
No. But
this stare down thing is just great because, like I said, we've seen Seth Bullock and Raylan Gibbons do exactly the same scene like 25 times. It's awesome. So
I was wondering, how they were gonna
resolve that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I was actually really happy when I saw all this, and I'm like, all right, so they've brought the armor back, but they didn't bring the character back, so Boba Fett's still dead, and obviously not the case by the time we got to the end of the show. But
now the thing is, do we ever see him again?
Oh yeah,
you think?
Oh, by him, you mean that you need the surviving Boba Fett?
Yeah.
If we're going there now? Oh, without question. That's all staging.
I would be content if we never see it.
I know you would, but I don't
hate Boba Fett. I think
he's got a storyline in there somewhere.
But let's face it, they set it up last
Sarlacc pit.
But they set it up last season with the spur sound when they were going to find Ming-Na's character at the end. Right. So I mean
what spur? He doesn't have the costume. The uniform.
But his boots, whatever boots he's wearing, have the same spurs.
And here we have a sandworm who's looking for
totally
other work
like
because Dune has been delayed.
Now, I never really knew much about Krayt dragons
in Star Wars. Yeah, I could do that.
I don't know much about Krayt dragon mythology, but I guess they do this.
Hey,
but this is an awesome thing. There was something that's literally a skeleton in 5 minutes of one
movie. Look at the house there. Boy, that's very
Well, they're on Tatooine, so.
Oh, they are, but I'm saying it's just oh boy.
But this is Favreau at his best. He takes one thing that Krayt Dragon was probably named, like it wasn't named in the movie.
No, it was never mentioned in the movie.
And then here he is, takes it and makes a whole thing of what the Krayt Dragon is.
Yeah,
that's just awesome.
Yeah, all we ever saw in a movie was
keep in mind that the child is probably in a spittoon right there.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
So,
yeah,
Hydra Spanner.
Yeah, it's I gotta say they do a great job making this look like Western Town and Star Wars at exactly the same time. The layout of the town is it's exactly the way a Western town set up, but it's all it's all populated by all these different shapes and things that we are recognizing.
Set decoration is spectacular.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
great job.
It really is.
Spot on.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just he just looks ridiculous in this armor. I'm sorry,
but that's the whole point. It's like again, it's borrowed armor that wasn't his, and but it's useful, as we see. So it's, this is great.
Right? Now, was that Anakin's
like
part of Anakin's?
It certainly looks like one of Anakin's pods, yes.
It totally does. It's like...
That is just like, is it too much in one episode? It's like, I think it's all great, but, Jesus, it's Gamorrean guards and Krayt dragons and
this is the universe. There's no reason to recreate this stuff when it's all lying around somewhere.
But it's also, that's the planet it would have been on.
That is in a junkyard. That is in a junkyard on Tatooine. So
that's an engine.
Yeah.
I like that they told this story too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like these guys wasted no time coming in and taking over.
Yeah.
Which is what bandits would do.
Now, this was 7 years ago. and he's wearing the same shirt. Just saying.
That's the West, Old West for you.
Yeah.
Not a lot of clothing options out in the
That's just
desert.
it. Not a lot of haberdashers out there.
Well, everyone wore the same stuff, but yeah, this definitely looks like a heavier weak way.
Yeah, for sure.
You go your way. I'm going to go steal an ice cream maker.
Now that speeder bike or speeder car looks a lot like the one that was in Luke's
Oh,
garage.
it was in the garage. Yes,
Yeah.
I picked up on that too.
I didn't. I missed that. Totally
that
missed
model.
that.
Oh yeah,
that
with
model.
that rear foil
The
thing.
big spoiler
Yes.
thing on the back. Yeah.
Yep.
So he has the Komodo, or what was it called? Is that what it's called?
Camp Tono.
Camp Tono of the most ridiculously shaped thing to hold stuff, but I guess not.
But this is just so beautifully Western right here. You know, the guy out in the desert, like ready to die, and and then of course, how you fail to notice an object that large approaching.
Yeah, you
until it
didn't
blocks
see
the
it
sun.
in the horizon. He just made a turn. That does look real, though. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny now that we've seen we know a little bit more about how they make this show. Like unbelievable the way it's also seamless.
Yeah.
And there it is. You don't even see it in focus, but there's the armor.
Yeah.
Harry, have you started cutting up your ice cream maker yet?
Not yet. Now that thing that they just tried to hand him, that looks like a Kenner weapon from a lot of the Jabba's palace guys.
Oh, really? Jeez
Oh.
Louise.
Okay,
Like the
I'm not going to
generic
say it, but one of my
Is
look
that
at the
RZ?
head he's holding.
Yeah.
RZ,
that's
what's his face?
CZ3. That's the droid that Spina just made.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's crazy. There's just so much in here.
Yeah, it's just great. And then, oh God, so good.
Now, did you guys see the thing that Favreau posted?
No.
I guess it was on Twitter. All right, I'll call it out when they get to it, but there's a reference to another Favreau directed movie coming up.
Oh.
Those helmets that the bandits are wearing are a little weird.
They are.
One guy doesn't have it on straight.
Yeah.
I would have reshot that.
They look almost Marvel Universe, those helmets.
They kind of do. That looks like something like one of the legions of anonymous bad guys would wear, like
That's
AIM
what I'm
or
thinking,
Hydra
yeah.
or something.
Yep.
Yep.
Now, this is cool because you finally like, what the hell is that thing?
Exactly.
Right. So Favreau posted that this is almost shot for shot the way Tony blows up the bad guys in the desert, the cave.
Yes.
And he posted both scenes side by side to show the
my
timing
God.
of it.
Really?
It's a total homage. I caught that at the time. It's
total
a total
homage
homage
to Iron Man.
Yep.
But that flip down thing is like, okay, it's not an antenna. That was cool.
Yeah, it's a rangefinder of some kind.
It's a rangefinder. Exactly. Yep.
But okay, so Boba Fett's not a Mandalorian, right?
No.
Well,
and Jango Fett wasn't, was he?
Nope.
So
they just wore the armor.
Yeah.
so if you read the visual guide,
Yeah.
Jango Fett basically, it says, after the murder of his parents, Jango Fett was adopted and raised by the legendary Mandalorian warrior army, a mercenary group who earned a reputation for the most formidable super commandos in the galaxy. So, boy, does that sound familiar.
That's some retconning, yeah. But that's
I know, but I'm saying
that's the same. But Django didn't live by the same code because he had no problem taking his helmet off.
Yeah,
he didn't. But
true.
I mean, the Mandalorian were, I guess, at least the group that he was with were pretty much decimated at that point. Yeah.
Now these dogs are the same dogs that Tuskens had in Episode 3.
Oh, that makes sense.
When Anakin went to their encampment.
2.
Oh, 2. Right, 2.
Yeah.
2.
No, it's nice that here's all these scary animals, and then he just starts scratching them, and they are nice.
I think it's great. The thing is, he's been, and like he referenced that he's been to Tatooine a bunch of times. We've seen him be here once.
Yeah.
He can speak Sand People. He, obviously knows these things. It's like, yeah.
Right. He may have been there many times before.
That's what I'm saying. He could have spent a considerable amount of time here. So, okay, coming up is one of my favorite things ever in this, which we're going to see in just a second. But, yeah, I love the communication stuff. Everyone else has just shot these guys on sight.
See, I wonder, is there a little message?
And now we know what the end of that stick is for.
Oh, my God, that's so funny.
Isn't that? I saw that and I was like, that's.
It does
so
look like
awesome.
the end of that little red rubber thing on the end of those toothpaste.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I didn't even catch that. I'm like, oh, he's brushing his teeth. I didn't catch.
It is it's the toothpick. It's like how you keep their so good.
Now, these huts were just. I mean, this is the same type of encampment that we saw in episode 2, which is good that they kept the continuity.
Yeah.
This guy.
Look at the dog. Like he'd be tasty. He would be tasty.
I'm curious if the armor is saying anything that we should be reading, and now it's off.
Oh, the little red
red thing.
Yeah,
because it changes stuff.
This was a little weird.
Yeah.
Now it's back on. The LEDs are back on.
Yeah. Yeah, you just drink it. Why are you being a little baby about it?
Yeah. And again, this is every Western ever.
Yeah. Don't smoke the peace pipe. You don't drink the thing.
Two people who don't get the culture.
Man, they're just like, everybody shut up. I remember when we saw the shot of the Tuskens in season 1, we didn't think that they looked quite right. I think they got them right now.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely look more.
They looked a little mass produced last time, and here there's some distinctiveness. And
now notice they're walking in single file.
In single file, yep, totally caught that.
I was thinking, did they cheat by just showing them from like the nose up? And obviously, it's much easier to do, but then you get the shot from the rear too.
Now, is that CGI? It's so hard to tell.
Oh, that's got to be. I think they probably got them built. They probably got like saddle height up built.
It's not nice.
Boy, did they draw lots for this job? Because that just was, I was like, oh, this is going to go poorly.
It's just so funny because
we're also back at a cave in the desert.
Right. It's just like the last time with the Mudhorn.
With the Mudhorn, it's like he spends a lot of time at these situations.
When I saw them walking in single file, I literally said out loud, they walk single file to hide their numbers, and Maria just kind of looked over at me like, what are you talking about?
I said the same thing.
It's a line of dialogue from Star Wars.
I was pointing out a bunch of stuff, and she was like, yeah, I'm trying to watch. Like,
it's an ongoing joke with me and Maria that when she does recognize something and she says it, I'm like, you've never been sexier to me than you are right now. she'll come out with some of these references, and I'm like, you get it. You've spent enough time with me. You finally get it.
Oh.
I wonder if that's a real elephant. Someone was saying that they
used elephants back in '76 when they filmed Star Wars.
Why does he wear Uncle Fester's coat?
Yeah, I know. I've thought that a few times. It's like,
I do love that the Krayt Dragon's smart enough here to be like, screw you. I'm gonna get you instead of the Bantha.
Oh man, like she's like, how like that. Run a little faster than that, a little sooner.
Also, run to the side. Don't do the straight line thing.
Serpentine. You always serpentine.
Get the Bantha between you and the thing.
Works for crocodiles, alligators, and
this is also, I gotta say, is one of the best lines in the whole movie, in the whole show. They might be open to some fresh ideas.
If I'm going to guess, I'm going to say that those are probably like 501st guys too. They probably brought in people to do the sand people.
Oh, you think? Yeah.
Well, they do a good job. I mean, they're very expressive. And
are those chocolate chips?
Pebbles, but this is great. That it's like
there's a lot of them. Jesus.
Like every war movie you've ever seen. Where they got to do the little scale model and.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm curious if there's only 5 and they
he's
shot them
arguing
on
about the
both
size
sides.
contrast.
Yeah.
So.
I love that this is even a language. More chocolate chips. You kind of look like chocolate chips.
They're not stones.
They look like nuts of some kind.
Or maybe they're like they look like cat treats or something.
Yeah, I think they're a little kind of like nuts or something.
Maybe they're baby Yoda droppings. That swoop bike is pretty cool.
Racer is the best.
Well, Barry, if you want a kit bash one, you know how.
Yeah, totally.
That's so funny. So I'm curious, like, we need behind the scenes of this. Like, how much of this is real? Is any of it real?
The other thing, so again, like I said, this is totally like every Clint Eastwood movie where you get the Western town under siege, where they go in and tell all the civilians, well, you've got to fight back.
Oh, every single one. It's
that's what I'm saying.
Magnificent
it's
Seven.
Yeah,
and they're
totally.
like, what?
Well, and they've even done this on this show before. They did it on that planet.
Oh yeah, no, I know that.
ATST.
I'm saying it's a recurrent theme. It's like
now, were they wearing Rebel? Those look like Rebel.
The hats kind of do.
Hats.
They do, yeah.
Is that just the military surplus stuff people are wearing?
Some of these just look like they're right out of Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I almost wonder if they downsized that armor to make it look sillier on him.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. I'm like, that was definitely a conscious effort. Anything good in the background? Someone should have left the Starbucks cup just to.
He also doesn't have the cod piece that the.
Right, he's missing some of the armor. Yeah.
It looks like an ATM in the back there.
I think it probably is.
It's a HG28R. What does that mean?
I don't know.
See, even the sand people get redeemed.
That's it. So. We know Anakin killed all the bad ones, so
yeah, and the children and the women. Yeah, this is definitely a heavy weak way.
He taught them a lesson. All right, now
I don't think so. They seem pissed off still.
Yeah, I guess
they have an awful lot of explosives for some little tiny.
Well, it's a mining town, though.
Yeah,
that's what that's mining explosives.
I took that to be like mining explosives.
Oh, okay. Good point. Good point.
That little green thing, that green cargo container that he's standing next to. It's out of the shot.
I saw it, yeah.
Those are made in Deerfield, Massachusetts, right next to us.
We need them. We need one of those.
Yep. Hardig Industries makes those. They go all over the world. Pelican.
Where's the rest of the town?
Pelican ended up buying the company.
Oh, really?
I was going to say that they're probably out the outskirts of the town because that's where they keep
where they keep the explosive. Good point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
can you find a slower moving animal?
There's definitely, from this point forward, there's a significant Jaws vibe to a lot of this. coming up when the guy drops the canister. That's straight
just
out of
think
Jaws.
for a minute what those things smell like.
Right there.
I meant the sand people, not the banthas. The banthas.
Right. But that's right out of Jaws when he drops the canister.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, not to jump too far ahead, but I mean, they essentially strap a bunch of explosives to a bantha and feed it to the, to the Krayt dragon, just like they did with the Jaws.
That's very Lawrence of Arabia.
Yep.
Yeah, I like how they're like riding along the edge of the dunes there.
Particularly when that is the hottest place that you can be. You know, if you go a few feet on the other side of the dune, it's shade.
Yeah. Well, it's only 2 suns, so it's not like it's that hot.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know.
good point.
Yeah, not the most efficient animal in the world.
But it's amazing to think how like cinematic this is, given you
I
know
know
that they're not out on a desert filming this.
It's just crazy. I just
yeah.
don't know how they do it.
I mean,
Like,
some
are
of
they
this is-
inside somewhere filming all this? I guess you can sort of see a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's just nuts. Oh, God, I'm never going to think of that gaffy stick or whatever.
Oh
as
my God!
anything other than a
Again, that's like my favorite thing in this whole
toothbrush.
episode. It was
Yeah.
like,
Weapon on one end, toothbrush on the other.
This guy, like another. Did you see? Were you there? Like the last time? What's interesting is their clothes are not all super tattered, which
right.
You know, it shows they've got some kind of. They're not just these animals living out in the desert.
Well, the other thing is like the younger ones may have less tattered clothes.
Yeah,
They may just wear
but
them
even
for
the
a long
leather
time.
and stuff.
And I
is
love the
fairly new.
the rifles are yeah.
Yeah, they have their own culture there.
But very similar to the rifle that Luke had. On
Exactly.
his
That's what I'm saying. So
land
Luke's
speeder, yeah.
rifle was probably like repurposed from
Or that's just the kind of gun you can buy in a Tatooine, rifle shop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's probably somebody going like village to village selling them.
Yeah, it's like all the leather stuff is pretty new.
Yeah. And it varies in color from person to person too.
Yeah.
It's not all doesn't like look all uniform.
And those hats.
But that's a very earthly shovel.
I was going to say
Yeah,
the
the
same
shovels,
thing.
I gotta say, they're
There's only
like
so much you do with a
1950s era
shovel.
shovels.
I guess they could have made it. This is very Moby Dick.
Or
Going
Well, I
to
was
the
thinking
rings.
Ewok.
Yeah.
I was thinking that like
Oh, yeah, that too.
it's based on an Ewok design.
Yeah. Or Planet of the Apes.
Yep. Yes, that too.
So basically any primitive culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, where'd you find the trees to make that thing?
That's true. Yeah. How are they making that thing? There's no wood anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, when Jabba's sail barge exploded, they went and
Exactly.
scavenged the wood.
So whatever pieces Brian Mix didn't take, they made into
Yeah, exactly.
harpoons,
Exactly, yeah.
harpoon launchers. That's funny. Like, did they think those things were going to do anything? And why
I
did
gotta
they
say
say this was a Sarlacc pit, right?
Yeah, they said it was, but
An abandoned Sarlacc pit.
abandoned Sarlacc pit. I don't get that entirely, but that might go into some mythology from the EU or something, or comics, or
Don't go that close.
Oh my God.
I don't know why you're doing
Don't
that.
don't clump together like that.
Yeah, it's like
And who's the guy who had to go with the dental pick?
yeah, like
The
you
other
have
dude's
nothing.
at least got rifles.
well, if the Krayt dragon comes out and he needs, a tooth cleaning, he'll be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta say, this watch along feature on Disney Plus is working pretty well.
So far, so
Yeah.
good. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'd be distracting if it was a new episode, but
Yeah.
you'd be
Yeah.
telling people to shut up.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
this
want to
is
do this for the
so-
first viewing.
This is
No.
so sandworm. It's awesome.
Now, do you notice the aspect ratio changes here?
Yes. Yep.
They went to the IMAX aspect ratio.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. I wonder why they did that. Those definitely look like
the Jaws.
space
This is
slug
Jaws. Like,
Jaws.
Yeah,
to the
totally
max.
Jaws. I mean,
Yep.
But that Krayt dragon skeleton was pretty small compared to this guy.
yeah.
I would think he would have a magnifier inside of the helmet, wouldn't you? I mean,
Well, Boba Fett did. I mean, the rangefinder would have worked in this scenario.
Like, you really think you're going to hold this guy back?
yeah,
Like,
I was wondering about that.
What are you thinking? Just
Wouldn't
let
it
go.
actually be cool if at some point in this season or even the next he adds the rangefinder to the helmet?
Yeah.
You don't think he
there's
has it
upgrade
built? I guess he
options.
doesn't have it built in.
Yeah, he just hasn't done the upgrades yet. Well, because he just got the missile, so
Yeah. But it is cool to think that he could add that and have it be more
Yeah.
Boba Fett-like.
yeah.
That's cool.
And this whole thing is very Star Wars, the whole idea that, the little guys can take down some big thing. I mean, that's been
Yeah, it's the Death. He's the Death Star.
theme.
Same thing.
Yeah, this is the theme of Star Wars since the beginning.
Really makes you kind of need
I'm not seeing the physics here.
No, the ropes can't be doing anything.
Yeah.
No, they're not. See?
Like just let go, please.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like trying to hold a Macy's parade balloon in a high windstorm.
Now, were they trying to like steer him? Was that the point?
They were trying to get him to go to the place where the bombs were.
So that came out of nowhere.
That
I
was totally
like,
unexpected.
Really? Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that all this planning and that didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that always happens. Were you thinking Baby Yoda was going to do something?
Like put his hand over his eyes or something?
No, I mean
like
like
you did with the Mudhorn.
Force-wise.
Yeah. They'll save that for later in the season.
Yeah, I didn't think it didn't make sense if he would have done it, but that stuff, like it's almost like the aliens' blood. It just melts people.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, what impact is that going to have on the people? Is it going to like burn them? Is it just going to be disgusting? Or
well, he said he's taking people out left and right, or whatever he says.
Yeah. Now this is like Godzilla right there.
Yeah.
That's totally Godzilla movie. Like busting through the top of the mountain. And
I think people are just melting from that stuff.
That is what it looked like, yeah.
He just said they're taking us out like womp rats or something like that.
Yep.
I couldn't understand what he said. This was cool. Like, they're both flying.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is just...
That was awesome.
Yep. Yep.
It doesn't seem to be a lot of way to steer.
Yeah, no, there doesn't.
No, it's definitely just propulsion.
Yeah. But again, as we saw in Clone Wars, in they just use it to get height. It's not so much, it's like to get, height advantage and to jump balconies and stuff like that. It's more a jump thing than an actual like transportation device.
That was cool. Yeah, it's just sort of, because they're definitely
just for like little
not
short
like
bursts and getting, almost
exactly.
But that's just awesome.
Really cool.
That is exactly what we saw weeks ago in Clone Wars. And the running landings, everything. No.
This guy's just coming out of every nook and cranny.
Well, he's injured and he's pissed.
You know that the director of the new Dune movie is pissed right now.
Oh my God, yes. It's like he's just like, yeah. And the other thing too is if like this had come out, afterwards, it would be everybody be talking about Dune, comparing it to Dune. I
wonder if Favreau was supposed to direct it and he didn't get the job, and now he's just like,
screw him. I'm going full on Dune.
This is just such a Mando thing to do too.
Yep.
And that Bantha's like, get me out of here.
Oh yeah, seriously. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing goes quite as planned here. You know.
This is
That's great. Yeah, I want I ordered the Black Series Mando. I want a Bantha in scale to go with it that we can just load up with things like that, because that's just a great shot.
I ordered it too. Yeah, that was. Do I have a Bantha? I think I have one somewhere, but it's the 3/4 scale.
3 3/4 inch scale one. Yeah. They'll make one in the Black Series probably.
Oh, it would be massive though, because the other one is like
that would still be
bigger
awesome.
than 12 inches. It's
that would be
16
awesome.
inches long.
So, yep.
It'd be like 30 inches.
I love the prolonged pause here. Just the oh boy.
Yeah.
And it's coming back. This is so Jaws. It's awesome.
Totally.
That's awesome. That the whole
it's just great. It's just great. Oh my God.
You got to blow them up from the inside.
Yep. Yep. And then the slow turn to look at it, because I know it's dead. And boy, that stuff looks gross.
Yeah, it does look gross. But he's got the Beskar armor to protect them, so.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you think at this point the Marshal had earned the armor and that he was going to leave it with him?
Yes. I thought he was going to let him keep it.
I totally did. I got to say. But I think that's a Mandalorian thing that we don't know yet. Like, if you haven't earned the armor, you can't have the armor.
Well, that's the thing. You have to return it. That was the whole thing in the beginning. He was like, you got to return it.
Yeah.
To wherever it belongs. But didn't he earn it?
Yeah,
I think
so.
Yeah, this
is so gross.
Reminds me of The Boys with the whale.
The whale.
Yeah. It's like, but this was what they wanted. I mean, they're going to eat for years off of this thing.
Ugh.
Now, this whole pearl thing is apparently right out of the EU. There's something with the pearls in.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I don't know all of it. But
why is he taking that big piece of meat with him?
Big chunk of Krayt Dragon steak right there.
Because you can eat for months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised about that.
I do hope that we see him again, because I think that was a good. I mean, if they're going to do a buddy thing, a pair up for another mission, having someone who has facial expressions works really well versus the Mandalorian. It's
pretty much everybody we met in the first season came back in some capacity.
That's what I'm saying,
and
I think it'd be silly not to do that, because, like I said, they had good.
Now they shrink the screen back, like a Western movie. I didn't get the pearl thing either, but this was like, oh boy.
The dual sunsets now. What's funny is my friend Mike texted me. My friend Mike texted me. He says, "Do you think that was Boba Fett?" I'm like, "It's freaking Tamora Morrison, dude."
It's just like there's no reason for it not to be him. Okay,
he didn't realize it was Tamora Morrison. That was the thing.
Okay, so I got a question for you.
Felt it was coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I knew it, because we knew we were going to see him. Okay, so where does he live?
He looks like he's living like a Tuscan. I was wondering if he was one of the Tuscans.
I think he's living in Obi-Wan's hut.
Really?
Think about it, right? The timing's perfect. It's like Obi-Wan never came back. He's living Obi-Wan's life.
He's nowhere
basically.
near him, is he?
But you know what I'm saying? He's like, he became the nomad.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know.
So
that might be too much.
Oh yeah, no, I'm kidding, but I'm just saying it's like.
There he is. Yeah, that looks more like Boba Fett.
Oh, very much. That was drawn as Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they were thinking. You know, when they were doing.
Did you see that last illustration? Where the baby Yoda was like playing with the Womp Rat? Those little food pellets.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Womp Rat feed, probably.
That's probably what it was.
But like, I don't, of all the stuff that's gone on since the original trilogy, I don't think there's been anything that sort of opened up like, holy crap, we just sort of threw something at you that changes everything you thought. I'm going to stop this.
Yeah.
I will say, it's hard to separate out a single episode. This is my favorite thing since the original trilogy. Okay. This is my favorite Star Wars thing since the original trilogy. It's probably my favorite Star Wars thing since Empire.
This episode or the show in general?
No, I'm saying the show in general, but as a total. But this episode, I think, is the best episode they've done. But I mean, there's been some really good stuff, some very good stuff, and even some like great stuff in some of the other episodes. This thing was dead on, beat to beat, all the way right down the line. It was perfect, and it was the right length. There were no superfluous scenes. It
was tight for sure. Yeah,
it was tight. I find the second person flashback thing interesting. We haven't seen that before as a storytelling element in this, where we've seen his flashbacks, but we haven't seen a narrative flashback the way the Marshal was telling his story. And we saw that. So that's
right.
interesting. That might open us up to see what happens to how Boba Fett survived or something like that later.
Well, this was a great length too, and I'm maybe it's just because it was the pilot for the season 1, season 2 premiere, but I'm hoping we get this kind of a length on every episode would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be cool.
We're a little short.
I'd be happy
last
with 40-minute episodes, even as compared. I mean, which I guess that was probably average overall at the end, but there were some short ones early on.
Yeah.
And when you add the credits and the recaps and all that, it felt like we were getting like 25 minutes of episode last season.
Yeah.
So
right,
yeah,
without
true.
question. This was exactly as long as it needed to be.
Yeah, there's nothing wasted here. There's no extra stuff. I'm just really curious, and there's got to be people freaking out, like, you can't bring Boba Fett back, or why is he this? And what?
Here's it. Okay,
I'm just curious what people are thinking.
This is actually so we have the third person to wear this armor now in this universe, right? So
yeah, I guess.
So Jango Fett wore it, Boba Fett repurposed it, and then now we have this person wearing it here. This is really interesting. So it's actually almost like the armor's story and not Boba Fett's story. So, and where it goes from here is also, potentially interesting. I don't think this really has to be entirely about Boba Fett. Boba Fett, and I know people love Boba Fett. Other present company excluded, but for all intents and purposes, that armor got more use in this episode than it ever did on screen previously.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
The only time it
was worn by a walk-on character in each of its previous incarnations. Okay, it was, yeah. Again, it just
and they've added. I mean, if you go with the special editions, they've added more Boba Fett in just to give him more screen time. But if you go back to the actual
zero purpose,
right? None of it helped the story in any way.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like
service,
it's
this. And the only time you saw his rocket pack was when he got shot into the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, I mean, when he got bumped into, and But what was interesting was that the Mandalorian did the same thing to the Marshal here, right? He hit the rocket pack and sent them flying.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yep.
If Boba Fett hadn't had such a huge following, this would have been like an awesome deep cut to be like, let's pull that armor out and do a whole thing with it. That would have been cool. But everyone's made him into this like freaking the coolest thing ever.
No, he's the Captain Phasma of the original series. Wait, that's probably not the way to say it,
totally agree.
Anyways, of the original trilogy, but I think this is great. It almost redeemed the armor. There's more story to tell associated with it.
Everything in this episode was a callback. What'll be interesting to me
is if there's maybe one portion of the next episode or of an upcoming episode where we resolve that, or if Boba Fett is a character throughout this whole second season, it'll be because I don't feel like he should be.
I don't feel like he should be either.
So now, next, presumably that armor leaves Tatooine for the first time in 10 years, something like that. Interesting.
Or the guy we saw at the end there might get it back, and then does he become a partner or a confidant of
they can't
the Mandalorian?
Do that. They can't.
No,
do that.
Become a series regular.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we never see him again. And honestly, that's the way to handle it.
You think that's it? You think it's that?
I don't know, but
cameo was
I'm fine with
No
that.
way.
Like, he crawled out of his heart.
Fine with
fine.
it. There's no way that happens.
I agree.
You
with
don't
Gary.
think?
There is no way
They didn't bring Tamora Morrison back to have him in.
What's the dude doing? He's not doing anything.
No, but they wouldn't have bothered.
We'll throw you $10,000. Come on for 2 hours. We're out. You happy with that? Fine.
I just don't
stand in front of a green screen
that.
and then go home.
Yeah.
So,
if we don't, believe me, you
And
start
honestly,
bringing
they
him in.
teased him. They teased him last season. Now they bring him back at the first episode of season 2.
There's a story. There's a story that's going to be
I
told
hope
there.
it's not.
And the question is he going to be like the helper? Is he going to be the hinderer? Is he going to be,
What
the big
if
baddie
he's
somewhere?
Captain Rex or whoever the hell those guys are?
Well, here's the other thing. That guy's had that armor for a while, the Marshal. If it was all but just about Boba Fett getting his armor back, he could have gone in at any point.
Oh no, he's abandoned that. There's no question.
Yes.
I mean, that's he would have taken it back from the Jawas.
Yeah.
He's
like Kung Fu. He just roams around Tatooine.
He's roaming the desert.
Now he just walked away. Just left it in the ground and walked
That was
away.
it. That was like the end of the episode.
Like
that
Spider-Man
was,
no more. He just dropped it in the trash can and walked away.
Was that the end of every Kung Fu episode? You just see him turn around and walk away.
And walk.
That's all
With
we
the
need.
sunset behind him.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay.
I don't think you can rate this episode without downgrading previous episodes. I think it's that good. I think it's that much above anything that we've gotten. This was so tight, so well done. And again, the Iron Man homage, the clear Jaws homages, it's like they're having fun with this. That's great.
Yeah.
I just hope that
it's
this
easier.
is
Second season they got their act together.
Yeah,
not that
and
it wasn't
I hope
together.
that they
but...
keep it at this level through the whole second season. That would be amazing if it's all this good.
Yeah, don't forget that they were building new technology to do this thing. That's sort of behind them, and now I hate to say it, but the reality of story. Not that anything was bad last year. Story does suffer when you're like, holy shit, does this stuff work? Are we doing the right thing? Like,
right.
We don't have enough time, blah, blah, blah. That's our recap of this episode.
Can't wait till next week.
Okay, that was Mandalorian. Let us know what you think. And if you didn't think it was the greatest thing ever, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And by the time you're hearing this, there's already a second episode out.
Yeah, so you can just keep
Exactly.
going. And
Yeah.
we won't live
Keep
commentary that one unless it's better than this one. So
Yeah, I don't expect we're going to do
we'll
that
have
for
to
every
see that
episode.
before we decide.
Yeah, I mean,
So maybe the next 8 weeks, there's just going to be
Live
live
commentaries.
commentaries of Mandalorian.
yeah.
I would love to see them top
We got
this
to do a
episode.
live commentary of something bad soon. We'll do that.
Yes, we need to do another Disaster Piece Theater. We haven't done one since the first one.
Oh God!
So one of the things that
we didn't live tweet that though. Live tweet. Why are you saying that? Live.
Yeah.
We didn't. No, we didn't.
Commentary.
We didn't, but
one of the things that I discovered after we watched it was from an article I actually read yesterday. Is the bartender in this episode was played by the same actor who played the bartender in Deadwood. So, which I thought was just a really cool thing. Which, like,
There's lots of little things like that.
Easter
they put
egg
together.
of Easter eggs. It's like who would I mean, this guy was under tons and tons of makeup, and for to bring him in to do scenes with another actor from the principal actor from Deadwood, it's just awesome. And
I also didn't know at the time that we recorded. I think I might have alluded to it, but I didn't know the details at the time. But that whole pearl that they get out of the Krayt dragon, that's from
what's that deal?
It's from a video game, so they dug deep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk more Mando later in the season. There'll be plenty to talk about, I'm sure. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.